A very good morning to everybody here at Karting International Raceway for the second round of the 2019 BNL Karting Series season, broadcasting live here at the circuit itself here in southeast Belgium. We're also broadcasting via our audio partners for 2019, Downforce Radio, as well as the live YouTube stream, thanks to MW Race Consulting, who are providing the timing, Camp Company GmbH, who are providing the live stream. My name's Alex Goldschmidt, the series commentator, and after a very lengthy absence, the BNL Karting Series returns for its halfway point of the season here under the fantastic Saturday morning sunshine. So we're literally seconds away for the qualifying stages for the first of 2 days of racing action here in southeast Belgium. We're around 2 hours south of Karting Genk, which has hosted the kick-off and also the first round back in late March, as our first set of qualifiers now get out on track. 5 minutes per session. And first up, it is Micromax. And at the moment, currently leading the standings is the number 54, the driver that I nicknamed Mr. Domination after the opening round at Karting Genk, Tommy van der Stroys on the Paralin chassis is in this. We've also got quite a few regulars, including Karel Stout, who was the inaugural winner of the Peter de Wit Fair Play Trophy back earlier on this year. A big thank you to Tanju Yildiz from Germany, who provided a fantastic carry case for the trophy to ensure it is protected at all times, and we will crown another Fair Play Trophy winner here this weekend. We've got Matej Radenkovic, Dries and Tom van Langendonk, Olivier Jonkers, Thomas Strauven, Casper Schomans, Karel Stout, Max Sadurski, Mika van der Pavat, and of course Tommy van der Stroys. So we have yet to see a banker lap set at the moment, as we have around about just under 4 minutes remaining in this first of 5 qualifying sessions. DD2 and DD2 Masters, due to their grid size here this weekend, will be amalgamated and run in the same session. So, first banker laps come in, and Thomas Stuyven sets the initial pace on a 1 minute 4.271, but Dries van Langendonk in the 15 has gone top, followed closely by Casper Schomans in the number 40, Olivier Jonkers in third, Strauven, Sadurski and Stout round out the top 6. Tommy van der Stroys is currently running in 10th position at the moment on a 1:05.491. So this will decide their grid positions for their first of 4 races. As some of the drivers making their way to the far side of the track, as we have got one actually beached off of the outside of turn number 9 on the grass there. As some of the drivers coming through to complete their next set of flying laps. First will be Thomas Strauvens across the line, and it looks like there is a duo seeming to be working together there. Well, one of them looks to be in GKS Lemon's Power colours, and that is Olivier Jonkers, who has now taken the top spot in the 16 in 1 minute 2.284, 1/1000th of a second quicker than the driver in front. The driver in front, who is Dries van Langendonk. It's 1/1000th in the shootout for pole, as we've got around 2 minutes and 15 to go. So this is day 1 of 2. So for those new to the BNL Karting Series, it is a case of having one qualifying session, and then we have 2 races per day. The first one will be 10 minutes plus an additional lap, and then 13 minutes plus an additional lap in the afternoon. So it's Jonkers from Dries van Langendonk that is just literally 1/1000th of a second apart. So the 2 GKS Lemons Power drivers leading the way at the moment. Matej Radenkovic has jumped up into third in the number 99. Thomas Strauven is in fourth. Mika van der Pavat in the 86 is fifth. Tommy van der Stroys still has a little bit of work to do, as the number 54, who had a clean sweep at Genk back in March, is now down in 9th position and is just behind Max Sadurski in the number 19. So at the moment, Jonkers from Dries van Langendonk, Matej Radenkovic. The gap between Jonkers and van Langendonk has now extended to 5/1000ths of a second. And we are fast approaching the final 60 seconds of this first of 2 Micromax qualifying sessions. One today, one tomorrow. And it is a trio of GKS colours running through turn 9. So they're coming to complete another lap. There's 48 seconds on the clock remaining. So very, very interesting track here. 1,366 metres in length. As well, Yonkers still has got the upper hand on Dries van Langdonk, but Matej Radenkovic has closed the gap to just over 2.5 tenths of a second between the number 16 and the number 99 in the shootout for pole position. Looks like Thomas Strauven is now on the back bumper of either Yonkers or Dries van Langdonk, as we've got just 10 seconds to go in the first of 5 qualifying sessions this morning here at Mariembourg. So time has now expired. This is going to be their last attempts. Who is going to stick it on pole for the first race of the day for Micromax this weekend, which will take place at 11 o'clock this morning. So in just an hour and 35 minutes' time, checkered flag is being prepped and will now wave as we wait for the trio of GKS drivers to come across the start-finish line. And they are line astern as they cross the finish line. Yonkers, Van Langdonk, Strauven, Radenkovic provisionally are the top 4 at the moment. I'm just waiting to see what Tommy van der Stroys has in his pocket as he crosses the line now. And now, has Tommy van der Stroys improved? No, the championship leader down in 7th position, but taking pole for the first of 4 races this weekend in Micromax is the number 16 of Olivier Yonkers. Dries van Langdonk just 5/1000ths of a second adrift in the number 15. Thomas Strauven makes it a GKS clean sweep of the top 3 in the number 9. 0.028 of a second off of Van Langdonk. Casper Schormans in 4th, ahead of Matej Radenkovic from Buvin Power in the number 99. The top 5 separated by just over 1/4 of a second. Nico van der Pavert was just a further 10th or so adrift. Tommy van der Stroys will start from 7th, ahead of Karl Stahl, Tom van Langdonk, Max Swiderski all the way down in 10th position, with Mick Vandenberg in the 29 will start from 11th place. So that was a very interesting dynamic between Yonkers, Dries van Langdonk and Thomas Strauven in the way that they were using the slipstream very effectively there, coming down the main straight and obviously through certain parts of the track. So 1 pole setter confirmed. We have another 5 to decide, and sitting in the dummy grid at the moment, well, they're making their way into the dummy grid at the minute, is our Minimax contingent. And at the moment, leading that championship is the number 50 of Tim Gerhards, who had a bit of a disaster, tried to get the ticket to the International Trophy at Le Mans. We've already given several tickets away at the kickoff earlier on in February. You can head to BNLKartingSeries.com for further information. There is also a blog on there as well. But Tim, we've got, if memory serves me correctly, 1 more ticket to give away for the International Trophy weekend. And if memory serves me correctly, that is for the highest placed Micromax driver. However, I do know that Tommy van der Stroys already earned his ticket back at the kickoff, and I think Max Swiderski might have also done so as well. I've been told otherwise. So there's no more tickets for Le Mans. We've given them all out. So all 6 of them, all of them that were given away at the kickoff earlier on. So there are no more Minimax. There's no more International Trophy tickets. But there has been. I think there are some other opportunities, or one of the last opportunities, which has been put on the BNL Karting Series Facebook page. So Tim Gerhards has done exactly the same feat as Tommy van der Stroys, but we've got Jaden Thien, Enzo Boll, who was last year's 2018 BNL Golden Trophy runner-up in the category. He's only a further 16 points adrift of Jaden Thien, but it could be very interesting how the dynamic for Minimax develops over the next coming days. So for those wondering who are watching at home or listening on Downforce Radio, at the track here it's currently 19 degrees Celsius air temperature, with a possibility of a high of around 26 to 27 degrees Celsius. I know it was a bit hotter than that yesterday, judging by some of the social media feeds I was looking at, just to get an idea of how everyone was faring. I've had a chat with a couple of people this morning to see how things have been, and some have been here as early as Wednesday this week, trying to get some well-needed seat time in ahead of the race weekend itself. Obviously, with a lot of drivers here this weekend, there is the opportunity to head to the 20th running of the Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals, which this year take place I think it's the last time they hosted it. This is the Circuito Internazionale Napoli in Sarno, southern Italy, just off the shadows of Mount Vesuvius. Will be hosting the 20th running of the event. So there are drivers in these championships that are wanting to get a ticket to that fantastic event. A lot of buzz around what is one of the most colourful displays, and actually is one of the, I think, one of the best in terms of the people that qualify. We have a lot of people that do try and do their best to get to the Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals and to be competing with some of the best in the world. I know that some of the BNL Karting Series drivers have headed over there, and they've definitely shown their mettle. And of course, the championship fights are still very much up for grabs in this early part of the season, even though we are at the halfway point. So for those wondering, there has been, in terms of the regulations reference to points scoring, it is now basically the top 15 will score points in their respective categories depending on entries. So 25 points will get you a win, 20 for second, 16 for third, and goes all the way down to 1 point for 15th position. So we're just a couple of moments away for getting our second qualifying session underway. So it will be Mini Max this time. Then we'll have Junior Max, Senior Max, and then, as I mentioned earlier, DD2 and DD2 Masters will be running in the same session. A total of around about 106 entries, with over, I think, 14 different nationalities represented here this very weekend. Now, the weekend results will be dependent on the scores that each driver manages to attain through every single race this weekend. And based on that, the podiums, which will be held at 4 o'clock local time tomorrow afternoon here at Karting de Fagnes, will be on a basis of how many points they've accrued throughout the weekend. If there is a tie, it will go back to the positions that the drivers have succeeded with in the last final of the weekend, which will be the ones on Sunday afternoon. So, Second qualifying session gets underway, and it is all 10 of the Minimax contingent. A couple just holding back at the moment. So we've got Nick Gerhards, Tim Gerhards, Enzo Bol, Jens van der Eyden, Teun Schmidt, Annabelle Bryan, Ralph van der Pavert, Matthias van Gotham, Jaden Thien, and Jules van Huel. So we've got 10 competitors, even though we have just around double figures for both Micro and Minimax. They are very, very good drivers, and these are the young chargers of the Rotax family, and very much the case that they can show the other drivers what they are capable of and can race very hard, but very, very fair indeed. So just over 4 minutes in this first of 2 qualifying sessions for Minimax. So initial banker laps coming in, and Enzo Bol goes to the initial top of the timesheets with a 1 minute 1.872. Does the 1:55 ahead of Nick Gerhards. Tim Gerhards rounds out the top 3, separated by just under 0.19 of a second, as Jaden Thien now jumps up in the 1:07 up to second, just 41 hundredths behind Enzo Bol. Then it's a further 47 hundredths back to Nick Gerhards. You can just see, for those watching on the live stream at home, wherever you are in the world, thank you very much for tuning in. First of all, just when they're coming through, looks to be going into that very, very fast. It looks to be turn number 4 there. Very much a more than just a 90 left, as some drivers taking a little bit of curb there, going through that corner. But there's some nice changes of direction, some good chicanes where they're able to actually come out of turn 12 and actually come through that latter section. So it is a right, left, right onto the main straightaway before the sweeper at turn number 1. Which pretty much is nigh on 180 degrees. But they also get the benefits of a couple of challenging infield sections when it's 2, 3, into 4. Then you head over to turn 5, over at the far side of the track. And there are some drivers, I think, even in qualifying, they are still going to push the limits of adhesion on the tyres. And coming into shot is Jules van Huel, who is currently in 7th position on the 1:21. Jules has just done a 1 minute 1.218, but already we are sub 60 seconds with 2 minutes to go. And the 2 drivers that have made that happen are both Jaden Thien and Tim Gerhards at the moment. So the championship leader just over 0.2 of a second off of the 1:07 in the fight for pole position. But that has now changed as Teun Schmidt's just gone up into 4th, Ralph van der Pavert up into 7th, and Matthias van Gotham up into 8th. And it looks like Enzo Bol has now gone past Tim Gerhards up into 2nd position. So between Bol and Tim Gerhards is about 9 100ths of a second. In shot there is Jens van der Eyden going into turn 4. So Jens currently 5th at the moment on a 1 minute 0.202. There is Jaden Thien heading through turn 4, it looks like. So less than 60 seconds to go in this first qualifying session for Minimax this weekend. You could just see how much they are pushing. Jaden Thien's gone quicker still, and he's extended the gap to just over 0.3 of a second ahead of Enzo Bol in the 1:55. We've got just 34 seconds on the clock remaining. So it's Thien from Enzo Bol, Tim Gerhards, Nick Gerhards, and Teun Schmidt that round out the top 5, all separated by just under 0.6 of a second. Jens van der Eyden, Matthias van Gotham, Ralph van der Pavert, Jules van Huel, and Annabelle Bryan. Bryan now in 10th place. So the time is fast expiring, and it is going to tick away. So very, very shortly, we'll find out who is going to be our pole sitter for the first race of the weekend for Minimax. that'll take place at 20 past 11 this morning. So who is it going to get? Who's going to get pole? Could it be Thien, Boll, or one of the Gerhards? We'll find out very shortly. Well, that's changed things a little bit, but not too bad, I think, for Tim Gerhards, who takes second position in that qualifying session. Jaden Thien is confirmed as your pole sitter for race 1 of 4 this weekend. That will take place at 20 past 11 this morning. So, Jaden Thien from the Netherlands in the 1:07 takes pole position for Minimax Race 1 a little bit later on this morning, just by over 0.26 of a second from Tim Gerhards from the Netherlands. Then it's Enzo Boll and Nick Gerhards that make it a Dutch clean sweep of the top 4. Matthias van Goethem is the best of the Belgians, 2 of them, and Matthias in the 1:45 is in 5th with a 59.908. Turnschmidt in the 1:66, a 1 minute .049 ahead of Jens van der Eyden, Ralf van der Pevert, Jules van Huel, and Annabelle Brien from the Netherlands, rounding out the top 10, all separated by just over 0.2 of a second, 2 seconds there. But now it's going to crank the volume up to 11. This is, of course, the 11th season of competition for the BNL Karting Series. Next up, it is Junior Max, and this is a So with regards to the title fight in Junior Max, it's very, very exciting indeed because, again, we have a driver that is definitely showcasing what he's capable of, and he's done that last year. He's doing it again this year in the right way possible. That is the number 201 from the Netherlands, from JJ Racing, Mike van Vugt, who is currently leading 3 different championships, and all 3 of them he is competing in against this year. So that is the 201 of Mike van Vugt. And also, we do have 2 other drivers that are in the top 3 at the moment. Chris Harnen and also Dan Ginchard. So Daniel Ginchard, who has switched to Persistence since I saw him last in Adria for the Rotax Max Euro Trophy. So there is a very, very interesting title dynamic that could get a bit more fiery here at Mariembourg, and I'm looking forward to seeing that. We will have a exciting 5-minute qualifying session. So, but of course, Mike, Chris, and also Daniel have been racing in multiple different championships, and that does include the Rotax Max Hero Trophy, the Chrono Karting Dutch Championship, the Motorsport UK British Kart Championships as well. So these drivers are getting a lot of experience. These are the drivers that I'm really keeping my eye on who could be those ones that could factor in to the title fights later on this season when we head back to Genk on the first weekend of October to conclude our 2019 season. So again, the timer has been reset to 5 minutes. All drivers pretty much lined up in the dummy grid, ready to get things going for their 5-minute qualifying session. And there is a lot of motorsport action going on this year. The Goodwood Festival of Speed is happening in Chichester, down in the south of England at the moment. We've got DTM and W Series and M1 Pro Cars out at Norris Ring, amongst others. But we're here to concentrate on BNL. And this category here, Junior Max, along with Senior Max, do really bring a lot of excitement within the Rotax family. And to see how much competitive nature there is in this particular category is something that you really need to see to believe in many respects. So for those wondering about our social media for the BNL Karting Series, you can head to our official website at bnlkartingseries.com. We're also on Instagram at BMC_BNL. It's at Karting BNL on Twitter, as well as typing in BNL Karting Series on the search box on Facebook. So we've been really looking forward to coming to a new track for 2019, and a little bit of cloud cover just showing up ahead, but it is still very dry here. We have to say a very big thank you to the Karting des Fans facility for welcoming us with open arms. It's been I've been really looking forward to commentate at this track in particular. It's one of it's another new track for me this season personally, and to get the opportunity to see some great racing, but also at a great facility is always a pleasure. It's never a chore. So it's going to be an interesting one. We are just moments away. We're literally about 45 seconds away for the first of 2 Junior Max qualifying sessions. And also, we do have an entry from Azerbaijan in the Junior Max division. I found that out thanks to Mr. Dave Ritson, who does a fantastic job as always to get the entries in. But now we have quite a lot of drivers coming out, probably around about 30 of them to be precise. Well, 25 have come out so far, as a few more will start to filter their way through. Bruno Mulders. He was last year's Minimax BNL Golden Trophy champion and took a ticket to go to Conde Pareba last year. So we have quite a few Brits, we have quite a few Dutch, a few Belgians alongside. So here's some familiar names for those that know about the BNL Karting Series. Mike Van Vught, Christian de Klein, Flint Schuring, Flint and Morris have switched to JJ Racing, a very interesting development, and they've got a few good drivers in their awning, including Mike Van Vught. Kai Hillert's Tom Breken makes his return to the BNL Karting Series. I've been waiting for Tom to get back into the BNL. And he, of course, was our Minimax champion from last year. We've got Jeffrey Fixer, Will Jenkins, Callum Boyson, Tom Adams, Matthew Higgins, Dan Ginchard. Those are the Brits. We've also got Jamil Rogers from Azerbaijan running in the 290. As the first time starting to come through, Christian de Klein from the Netherlands leads Mike van Vught by just 85 hundredths. Well, that's quickly changed as Dan Ginchard goes to the top of the timesheets on a 58.407 in the 254. Mylan Coppens from Belgium, Bart de Wit returning back here at Mariembourg as Jules Castro from GKS in the 206 goes top with the 58.240. Excuse me there. Chris Harnan currently sitting in 20th position. 3 minutes and 13 on the clock to go. The times will drop quite considerably, I feel. So could we have a sub 58-second time? There is a definitive possibility that will happen. But it's Castro, Ginchard, Coppens, De Wit, Voisin, Christian de Klein, Mike van Vught, Morris and Flint Schuring as Van Vught and Morris Schuring go first and second. And we have broken into the 56s. That's a brilliant lap from Van Vught. He's just done a 56.180. That's over 2/10 quicker. Well, hang on a minute. Dan Ginchard retakes it and goes sub 56 in the process. A 55.931. Matthew Higgins in the 275 now up into third position on a 56.143 and quickly gets deposed by Jules Castro, who jumps up into third position. So Ginchard is about 26 hundredths quicker than Belgian's Mylan Coppens. Jules Castro makes it a Belgian 2-3. Matthew Higgins and Mike van Vught rounds out the top five at the moment, all separated by just under a quarter of a second, just over 2 minutes in this very fast-paced qualifying session for Junior Max here at Mariembourg. But Van Vught retakes the top spot on that last attempt. 55.794 from the Dutch driver. Dan Ginchard in second. Mylan Coppens, Jules Castro, Summer Webb from the Netherlands in the 252 goes up into fifth position. But Matthew Higgins, what a barnstormer of a lap from the Brit, a 55.737. So he's just gone 57 hundredths quicker than the current championship leader, Mike van Vught. This is really spicing things up. It's a new track for a lot of drivers, and this could be a telling point on what we could expect a little bit later on today. But Matthew Higgins in the 275 is going absolutely for it. 55.737, Van Vught at 55.794, Mylan Coppens at 55.818, and then 1/1000th slower is Daniel Ginchard from the United Kingdom. So two Brits in the top five, Jules Castro and Kai Hillertz round out the top six ahead of Morris Schuring, who's jumped up into seventh. No, make that Lars Zanen now. Jeffrey Fixer jumps up into sixth. Will Jenkins in 15th. But the top spot is changing as the time is fast counting down. So Daniel Ginchard, 55.652 with around 42 seconds to go. The Brit is on provisional pole for race number one. He's just 72 hundredths ahead of Mike van Vught. Matthew Higgins rounds out the top three. 13 hundredths of a second adrift of Van Vught. So, not long to go now as we find out who will be our pole sitter for Junior Max race number one a little bit later on today. Who's it going to be? Ginchard, Van Vught, Higgins, Castro, Coppens, De Wit, Wassin, Harnan even now up into 8th place. Tom Adams in 9th. Jeffrey Fixer in 11th. Tom Heinertz rounds out the top 11 as Lars Zanen hits the top 10. Time's now expired. Checkered flag waves. Tom Heinertz pulls the cat out of the proverbial bag with an absolutely blistering 55.588, but it's not good enough for pole. Dan Ginchard takes third, Matthew Higgins fourth, but I think at the flag by just 6/1000ths of a second. Just going to wait for him to cross the line, the 201. Chris Harnan takes 10th, but I think it is done, and by just literally a hair's breadth, 6/1000ths of a second, I think that's done it. Mike van Vught, the current points leader, continues his season the way he started it. Well, apart from the kickoff, of course, because that wasn't a good one for the 201. And he did a 55.651. But Mike van Vught from the Netherlands, the defending champion in this category, takes pole position for race number 1 for Junior Max. And that takes place at 11:40 this morning. Tom Heinertz, who was in Minimax last year, has really impressed me this season. He is, I think, a dark horse this year. The 237 puts it alongside, so it's a Dutch 1-2. Then it's a Brit 3-4 with Daniel Ginchard from Persistence Motorsport, followed by the 275 of Matthew Higgins. Jules Castro and Milan Coppens makes it a Belgian all-row number 3 ahead of Bart de Wit, Callum Voisin, Tom Adams and Chris Harnan rounding out the top 10, all separated by just over 0.3 of a second. Kai Heelitz, Lars Zanen, Jeffrey Fixer, Summer Webb, Tom Braken returning to BNL, but this time in Junior Max, rounds out the top 15. They're all separated by just under half a second. Maurice Schuring in 16th, ahead of Will Jenkins, Christian de Klein, Danny Van Dyke, Flint Schuring, Bruno Mulders, Drake Janssen, Sam Bergstein, Jamil Rogers and Axel Hansel, all separated by less than a second. So another very closely fought qualifying session, and I think the volume's going to be cranked up another notch yet again, because very, very shortly we have our first of 2 Senior Max qualifying sessions. Senior Max has been the biggest subscribed category this season, and here at Mariembourg it is no exception at all. So that there were 34 registered entries for this weekend. And quite a few drivers that joined the Euro Trophy last time, well, for their first round of the season, which was held at Adria Karting Raceway on the 1st and 2nd of June. Their next race meeting is actually next weekend. So there will be a lot of drivers moving over to Kristianstad Karting Club, to the Asumring in southern Sweden. So that will also be live streamed. But there's a lot of drivers here that are doing, as I said earlier, multiple campaigns. And there is a lot of pride at stake. And I know that everyone wants to do their very, very best to get the tickets to Sarno, because the race is quite clearly on. The challenge for the drivers to get to the 20th running of this year's Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals is something that everyone wants to take part in. And one of the biggest bits of news reference the Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals for this year is that the Rotax Thunder carts that are running as part of, they're running in the DEKM, they will be part of the 360 plus entries that will head to Sarno between the 19th and the 26th of October this year. Sarno last hosted the Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals in 2016. And funnily enough, one of my colleagues from Downforce Radio, Jake Sanson, just so happened to bump into Rubens Barrichello. For those wondering, because obviously Rubens came back to racing, he's racing Brazilian stock cars. But in 2015, he raced in DD2 and took 4th, having started 15th, if memory serves me correctly, as the Braun GP car that is the only car in Formula 1 history that has taken 100% of championships in just one season. A driver's and a constructor's world title in the same year that the double diffuser came onto the F1 scene, and Braun GP, born out of the ashes, the Phoenix born out of the ashes from what was originally Honda Racing, and then took Jenson Button to his first and only World Championship title. He is now a Super GT champion with Team Kunimitsu with Honda over in Japan. But who's not to say that some of the drivers in both Junior and Senior Max could one day be in the higher echelons of motorsport? And I'm not just talking Formula 1. You know, drivers that I've seen rise, go through the ranks in karting. Mark Kimber is now running in GT4 with the BMW M4 Coupe. And he won the Senior Max BNL Golden Trophy last year after a great battle between himself, Matilda Olsson, who's currently leading the Rotax Max Euro Trophy Senior Max standings, having left Adria a few weeks ago, and also Jordan Brown-Nutley. It does go to show that there are drivers that will decide where they're going to move in terms of their career paths, because not everyone's going to reach Formula One, but there is so much choice. There is so much racing diversity in terms of where you can apply your trade. And karting, everyone knows, is that I think, as Kobe Pals said on an after movie, he said, you know, if you want to be in Formula One, you know, karting's where you need to be. And that's where a lot of the drivers have done so, and including a couple of former KZ rivals, now rivals in Formula One, Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc, to name but a few, who obviously had that little contretemps in Austria, which was decided as a racing incident. I completely agree. But, you know, people have had their opinions on social media, and I'm not gonna open the floodgates again, because it's been done. It's water under the bridge, and you know, let's see what they do throughout the rest of the season, as the British Grand Prix is just next week as well. So a lot of motorsport happening all across the world. There's also the 24 hours of Portimao happening in Portugal. I do see that one of the drivers that has decided to join the Senior Max ranks is actually from said country, Guilherme de Oliveira from KR Sports. Good to have him with us. Manel Galafritona, I believe, is with us as well in Senior Max this weekend, and Manel was with us was with the Rotax Max Euro Trophy in Adria. So we're going to have a very interesting qualifying session here. This is the penultimate, so the fourth of 5 qualifying sessions, each lasting 5 minutes in duration. And for those wondering about the timetable itself, the first set of races get underway at 11 o'clock local time. That's 10 o'clock British summer time for those in the United Kingdom. If you're in the US, it's 6 o'clock in the morning, depending on where you are, whether it's Eastern or Pacific time. And then the longer races this afternoon will take place from 1:30. With they will be longer in duration. So the first race will be 10 minutes plus an additional lap, and then 13 minutes plus an additional lap for the second races. So we've got just over a minute's waiting time here, as the drivers are now trying to get themselves ready, get into the zone, and put in their best hot laps here at the 1,388 metre circuit here at Mariembourg at Karting de Fagnes. So 2 qualifying sessions earlier on today. So looks like it was Mini Max and of course Junior Max that were very, very close in how they were decided by literally thousandths of a second. What is Senior Max going to do to up the ante? We're about to find out very shortly, in around about 30 seconds' time. But who's going to put it on pole? It's anyone's guess. And as I normally try not to do, I will not do any sort of predictions whatsoever, because it doesn't work out in my favour. You know, you try and make a prediction, you put a commentator's curse, and I'm not going to do that to anybody here this weekend. There are a lot of talented drivers in every single category that we have here this weekend, and they all deserve a fair fighting chance. So there we go. The clock has started to count down. Yeah. So we've now got the this session underway. And we're just going to find out very shortly who's going to put in the banker laps, as some drivers taking a little bit more time to get themselves ready. So we have the likes of Marcus Radny, Elias Kalin from Sweden, Alexander Luck, Victor Plateau, Hughes Van de Candelera, Dylan LaHaye, Charlie Turner, last year's Super 1 British Rotax champion, is back with us. Mick Knowlton, Reese Hunter, Ilian Bruncius, Christian Koya. Just had a message from timekeeping, looks like 368 and 378 have low batteries, but the driver coming into this round with a fraction of a lead, 3 points, is Clayton Ravenscroft from KR Sport in the 399. So it's going to be very interesting how this dynamic, let's say dynamic category for a change, as Clementine Benoit is currently in 5th position. So we have the likes of Kieran Gifford, who's also been racing in the Motorsport UK British Kart Championships, is with us. Jason Lockwood, Georgios Beresis from Greece, Patrick Rundqvist, another one from KR Sport, but there is a load of Brits in this category. Kai and Reese Hunter, Ben Donkin, Teddy Clinton, the dual ride diamond Lewis Gilbert, Reese Hunter, Kian Sang, Charlie Turner, Kieran Gifford, Sam Harrison, who I know for a fact likes to go skiing when he gets the chance, when he gets the opportunity. But Alexander Luck in the treble 3 from the UK has just gone quickest of anybody at the moment by nearly 0.6 of a second. Some drivers are still in the dummy grid with about 2.5 minutes remaining. So Alexander Luck leads from Marcus Radny, Clementine Benoit, Elias Kalin, Hughes van der Landekera, Guilherme de Oliveira, Manel Galofre-Torna, Andreas Hebert from France, Sam Harrison and Clayton Ravenscroft round out the top 10 at the moment. The times, the benchmark is being set by Alexander Luck of a 55.465, but expect the times to drop. So quite a few other drivers here. Ilian Bruncius, who is in 2nd position at the moment. Now, Ilian already has a Grand Finals ticket, so I think he just wants to get a title in the BNL under his belt. But Charlie Turner is in the mix when it comes to the title fight, I think. So your guess is as good as mine as to how things are going to fare. Now, it's going to be very interesting with the amount of drivers trying to jostle for position, and I'm seeing a few trying to go through the far side of turn 2 hairpin. So you've got the 304 there. That is, I'm trying to remember all these numbers. So the 304 is Mick Knowlton from GKS. So we are getting closer to the 55-second barrier, and the person closest to that, well, it's been broken by the current points leader, Clayton Ravenscroft, with just under 1 minute remaining. So Clayton puts in a 54.894, but 9 1,000s between 1st and 2nd provisionally at the moment, with Spain's Manel Galofre-Torna putting in a 54.903. Lewis Gilbert up to 3rd. Andreas Herbert drops to 4th. Ahead of Teddy Clinton, Kian Sang, Dylan LaHaye, Reese Hunter and Jason Lockwood round out the top 12, with Lockwood in 11th position. Hunter in 12th. Charlie Turner drops to 10th as Ilian Bruncius now goes 4800ths quicker than Ravenscroft. It's now time to find out who is going to respond the best out of the pair, but could there be a surprise from well, there is a surprise there as well. That's the 351. That's Georgios Beresis, whose cart is now stricken. Driver is away from the cart. Clementine Benoit now currently down in 16th position. Alexander Luck takes 12th. Kian Sang 9th. Ben Donkin actually takes 12th ahead of Luck. Guilherme de Oliveira qualifies in 8th position, but there are still quite a few drivers. Lewis Gilbert won't get higher than 5th place. Bram Ossevaarde 22nd. As I say that, Kai Hunter drops to 10th as Andreas Herbert takes 8th. Kai Hunter and Charlie Turner have just come from absolutely nowhere, and they have, I think, have they stolen it from the likes of Bruncius, LaHaye, Ravenscroft and Galofre-Torna. LaHaye, Ravenscroft and Galofre-Torna have yet to cross the start-finish line to complete their flying laps. So let's just see what happens here. Ravenscroft takes fourth behind Brunseels, but for pole position, it goes by just 62 hundredths, not as close as what we've seen with Junior Max earlier on. But Kai Hunter from Dan Holland Racing in the 395 takes pole for the first race for CD Max, first of four. That takes place at 12 o'clock by just 62 hundredths. And ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be a British front row because Charlie Turner, also from Dan Holland Racing in the 301, takes second position ahead of Ilian Brunseels and Clayton Ravenscroft. Top four separated by just 0.233 of a second. A further 8/100ths back to Dylan LaHaye from GKS. Manel Galofre-Torna in the 335 takes six ahead of Lewis Gilbert, Teddy Clinton, Reese Hunter and Leroy Jägersar from the Netherlands. The top 10 separated by just 0.364 of a second. Then from 11th downwards, it's Andreas Herbert, Guilherme de Oliveira, Kian Sang, Lorenzo Stolk, Sam Harrison, Storm Breuer rounding out the top 16 ahead of Ben Donkin, Christian Kuya, Alexander Luck and Victor Plateau rounding out the top 20. Then down to 31st. Of course, Georgios Bursis will start from 31st and dead last in the 351 after a technical problem there. Then it's Jason Lockwood in 21st, Clementine Benoit from Belgium, Patrick Rundqvist all the way down. This is a surprise. All the way down in 23rd ahead of Elias Kallen, also from Sweden. Bram Osavada, Kieran Gifford ran out the top 26 ahead of Rick Boothorn, Marcus Radney, Mick Knowlton starting from 29th with Hughes van der Candelera from Belgium in the number 378 starting from 30th position. So that is the penultimate of our qualifying sessions completed. So we have 4 pole positions decided. We have another 2 to decide now. So very shortly it will be the turn of DD2 and DD2 Masters. And in terms of the title fights for both respective categories, Zander Priblak currently leads on 95 points. Took 3 out of 4 wins at Karting Genk back in late March, even though it might have been a slight blip, but he was firing on all 125cc of that Rotax Max DD2 engine. But he has 2 other challengers at the moment. The closest from Dames Racing Team, Dionysis Livris from Greece, who I think was attending a wedding just the other day. So good to see him ready to go racing. He's 31 points adrift from Zander at the minute. And then a further 3 points back from that is one driver that is still with Dan Holland Racing, but moved up to DD2 following his tenure in Senior Max, Sweden's David Remy. So the top 3 drivers are separated by just 34 points coming into this round. It's 25 for a win, 20 for second, 16 for third, and then it goes all the way down to the top 15 as they... looks like the recovery vehicle there is... Now, we've got a very cheeky wave. Of course, you can probably see that... a lot of the organisational staff have got new uniforms. A big thank you to the BNL Karting Series. So if you see anyone walking around in one of them, including myself, so a new uniform for 2019. So you can't miss it. It's white, it's bright, and very, very comfortable, I must add. So also we have to come to DD2 Masters. The fastest baker in Flanders, Mr. Carl Klibort from Boovin Power, leads with a perfect score thus far. 100 points to Carl. Now, when we left Genk, we had RSC competition and FM racing very much in the mix. We had Michael Becker from RS Competition who was second in the championship, leaving Genk. And then we also had Patrick Weinstock, who was the other driver. But it looks like I've just been having a look at the free to download via iTunes or Google Play, the dedicated Rotax Racing app, available free. But there's going to be, good to see Alexander Derlinger with us, Derlinger here with us this weekend. We've also got Mr. Kinch and Mr. Billings from the UK. Tamsin Germain could also bring herself into the title fight this weekend. Also, Christophe Adams, who will be representing Team Belgium for a 14th time in Sarno this year, having won the Stars and Stripes Open a few months ago. Félicitations, Christophe. Well done. Looking forward to seeing how you get on. But, of course, he could also be factoring in, but Carl has got a very good turn of pace. So we'll see what happens here. So in this qualifying session, the last of 5 minutes, so we will have a total of 10 races per day. So with DD2 and DD2 Masters being amalgamated, we'll find out very shortly. The session will get underway at 20 past 10, which is in around about 3 minutes' time. So we will see who will be our 5th and 6th respective pole sitters for DD2 and DD2 Masters here for this weekend. So very much a case in point of seeing how everyone deals with it. As for those that have watched had a look at the BNL Karting Series YouTube channel, we are on YouTube as well. We've also got a lot of things happening. One of the after movies we've it just shows the amount of atmosphere that we have. A very friendly championship, a very international championship once again. So. Is anyone going to ask me whether I'm going to predict anything for pole position? Don't know yet. I'll tell you when I see it with my own eyes. But we'll see what happens. So for those wanting to get in touch, you can either get in touch via the various social medias, at Karting BNL on Twitter for the BNL Karting Series official Twitter account. You can also get in touch via Downforce Radio, at Downforce Radio, where I, as a dedicated communications manager, I will be able to answer on our behalf as well, as I'm getting all the confirmed grids being handed my way, because the action will truly get underway at 11 o'clock this morning. So just under 60 seconds to go before we get our final qualifying session for Round 2, Day 1, here at Karting Defang in Mariembourg. So air temperature has now raised. Local time is now 10:19 and has raised to 22 degrees Celsius. Southerly west wind for 5 miles per hour. Humidity at 61%, and very much clear visibility. But when I made the journey over, there was a bit of mist and low-lying fog this morning at around about 7 o'clock. But very much the case of having a dry track. That's what any racer wants. If it gets wet, it gets exciting. However, I think a lot of us want it to stay dry, myself included. Well, it's now hit 20 minutes past 10 as DD2 and DD2 Masters now head out. Well, we've got one driver circulating at the very, very least, and that's Ronald Billings in the 541 from DD2 Masters. And the timer is ticking away, 4 minutes and 24 on the clock as someone else ventures out, and that driver will be Sander Schriblak, followed by the 5:27 of Fritz Bernsen. Tamsin Germain also now circulating. Jan Schwitter from FM Racing, and quite a few others. Right, let's see who's the last driver out. That looks to be Sebastian de Grande is in the 447 from Dames Racing. Has just gone around the first corner here. The only driver I haven't spotted yet is Alexander Vermeulen in the number 492, who has now started circulating. So, 18 drivers, comprising of DD2 and DD2 Masters competitors. So, we have the likes of, Sander Schriblak, as I said earlier on, is the current points leader, as Tamsin Germain crosses the line and goes second quickest overall, but provisionally puts her top of DD2 Masters in a 59.932. Sander Schriblak, in the meantime, has gone about 1.3 seconds quicker than Carl Clairvaux, who's now taken top spot in DD2 Masters. David Remy now puts himself up into third position as more drivers cross the start-finish line. 2 minutes and 40 to go on the clock here. So Schriblak goes fastest of all by about 2 points. Well, actually, I tell you what, Sander Schriblak might have a little bit of a fight on his hands if he doesn't go any quicker. As Jan Schwitter has just gone top. Madeleine Radny, good to see her back in the BNL Karting Series. In the 468, she's in fourth position behind Carl Clairvaux, who is leading DD2 Masters at the minute. But David Remy and Dionysius Libris ran out the top three behind Jan Schwitter. And the order is changing. Sebastian de Grande takes fourth away from Schriblak with 1 minute and 40 to go on the clock here. So a 55.106 from Schwitter, but 2 1/1000ths of a second between him and Sweden's David Remy from Dan Holland Racing in the 427. And as I say that, Sander Schriblak is the first one to break into the sub-55 second barrier with a 54.917. Alexander Vermeulen also makes it a Belgian 1-2 at the moment at 55.032. But then Jan Schwitter responds in kind. The Swiss ace goes top with a 54.863. David Remy now drops down into fifth ahead of Dionysius Liveris, with Carl Clairvaux taking fourth position at the moment. The 510 goes sixth quickest now as David Remy now goes top by nearly 2.5 tenths of a second. That's 0.221. But then Jan Negussens from Belgium comes up into second position in the 490. 0.17 away from the Swede. We've got 40 seconds on the clock remaining in this qualifying session. And Schriblak is dropping down the order. Alexander Vermeulen's overtaken the 412, the current points leader, for fifth place by about 36 hundredths. Vermeulen's only 15 hundredths off of Schwitter, who this is how close the gaps are. Dionysius Liveris is 0.051 behind Jan Negussens, then it's a 0.04 back to Jan Schwitter, then 0.015 to Vermeulen. Schriblak a further 36 hundredths, then it's a further 7 1/1000ths back to Sebastian de Grande as Dionysius Liveris goes to very close towards David Remy, who's still with that 54.602, has taken provisional pole at the moment as the checker flag is waved. The time has now expired. So Jan Negussens provisionally at the moment sits on second place. But it's about what happens with Remy, Liveris, Schwitter, Vermeulen. Schriblak goes fourth quickest, Vermeulen fifth. Schwitter, I want to see what his response is. Christophe Adams is 11th overall, but provisionally at the moment speaking is second in DD2 Masters. Carl Klebot takes 9th position. Madeleine Radny takes 8th. But it is confirmed. Whoa, that was close. Dionysius Liveris tried to steal it like candy from a baby, that pole position from David Remy. But the Greek driver was only 0.04 off of the Swede, whose 54.602 secures him pole position for the first of 2 races for DD2 and DD2 Masters. So Remy takes pole ahead of Dionysius Liveris. Jan Negusens from Belgium takes third ahead of current points leader Zander Przyblak. Alexander Vermeulen rounds out the top 5 ahead of Switzerland's Jan Schwitter. Sebastian de Grand and Madeleine Radny round out the top 8. Carl Klebot, the fastest baker from Flanders, takes 9th, but also takes DD2 Masters pole position. Ahead of the number 463. I don't really know how to say his surname, but Sani Bekian has the same first name as me, Alex. Another Alex there. Might get myself confused a bit later. Christophe Adams takes 11th ahead of Christophe Lignon. Jamie Billings and Tamsin Germain round out the top 14, with Alexander Dullinger from the Netherlands rounding out the top 15. Roland Kinch, Fritz Fernson and Ronald Billings round out the 18 strong. That is it for qualifying for the first day of competition for the second round of the 2019 BNL Karting Series season. We'll be back just before 11 o'clock this morning on the live stream and also on Downforce Radio as we kickstart the action aplenty here at Karting des Fagnes in Mariembourg.